Hello, everyone. Today I will be guiding you through the assignment recorded discussion number 2, in which I ask you to record a video in which you had to sell 3 items from one of 10 inventories from colonies or empires. So, in order to give you an idea on how to do it, I have chosen to do it on a French inventory. I picked 3 items, and I will first tell you what process did I go through in the making of the video or in the making of the presentation, and then I will go ahead and give the presentation of those 3 items so that you can have an idea of how to go about your own presentation. So let me share here real quick. Here is the presentation. As you can see, I used Prezi, which is an app which you can use for free. It is very useful because it has an interface that you can select the slides from, and they act as a platform that jumps from one to another one. So here there are 8 slides in total. In my instruction, I ask you to pick only 4, to only work with 4 slides. I decided to do 8 in order to have one presentation or introduction at the beginning and to have 2 slides per product that I will sell. And then one last slide that will be the farewell and the trade of terms and payments that I've asked you to include at the end of your presentation. So let's go with the first one. The first one is a bienvenue in French, right? Since I am the French merchant, it's a welcome or a greeting slide in which you're going to present yourself and you're going to talk a little bit about where you're coming from, the region, the colony or the empire that you were from. And then from there, you jump into trading or selling your items. So that's the first slide. So the second and third slides correspond to the first item. In this case, I decided to sell linen, flax-based linen from France, and I used 2 slides. The second item that I decided to sell was beaver pelts, and the third one was luxury wine from the town of Bordeaux, from which I'm from. And the last one, it's the payment terms that has the farewell and the way by which you would be paid. And so I'm gonna I'm gonna start with the first introduction slide, and I will continue the presentation as to give you an idea on how you should go about your own recording. So let's go ahead and get it started. So I have titled the whole presentation Le Commerce de la France, which is the commerce of France, or French or France's commerce. So remember that this is all based on the mid 18th century, that is mid 1700s. And purposely, I did it on this time period because that is what immediately happens before the American rebellion, American colonies rebellion, and subsequent American Revolution. So I'm giving you an idea on how the trade across the Atlantic Ocean from Europe to the Americas was like, so that you get a taste of what colonists in the American colonies were going through and things that they were exposed to. So we're going to start with the welcoming slide right here. So I'm going to click over here, and I'm going to present myself. So since it's French, I did include a little bit of French there. Bonjour, je suis Monsieur David Cabrera. And so I come from the southwestern French town of Bordeaux to offer the best that New France in North America and the French motherland have to offer, from the hinterlands of North American Great Lakes to the wine making sunny riverbanks of Bordeaux. I am here to offer you the best of our products and to experience an amicable, friendly business transaction. So follow me, s'il vous plaît. Please follow me. So this then gets us into the first product that we will sell. And this is French linen or woven linen from France. So the specific area of France from where this linen is made is the region of Brittany in the northwestern coast, Atlantic coast of France, close to the British Isles. And this part is unique because the land the land is close to a certain system of rivers that allow the growth of long fiber flax, which is the raw material with which this cloth is made, and allows for a type of clothing with long fiber that, when worn by the customer, feels very comfortable. It doesn't feel itchy because of the long, continuous fibers with which it's woven. And so another thing is that the rivers of these areas have a special acidity or acid levels that when these fibers are washed off, then they attain a whiteness that is not matched anywhere in the world by other linen making areas that you know of. So this is very unique in terms of the comfort and the coloring of the fabric. So we're going to go ahead and explain to you what this cloth or fabric is good for. So we here have, as among the uses, we have shirts and shifts, which were shirts and long uh, chemise for ladies, which were worn under other clothing. So that kept the other clothing on top to that kept it protected from any stain, from perspiration. And at the same time, they were so durable that they could be washed with boiling water and retain their texture and their coloring. They were good for sailcloth and sacking. Our mariners, our sailors, our merchants that have traveled the world and have used our linen for their riggings in their ships can attest to the durability of this fabric to withstand the strong winds of the oceans. So this is a very durable and very efficiently woven material that can last very long and can also endure the worst storms in the ocean. And bedding and tablecloths, so to cover any kind of furniture in your place or establishment. So for only £5 sterling, £5 sterling, you can get a bolt of 40 yards of this incredible linen cloth. So let's go and move to the next item that we have. We have what we call the castor gras d'hiver, which is a beaver pelt that is specifically extracted from the hinterlands of the Great Lakes in North America, the hunting grounds of the Huron and the Algonquian peoples. So our trades, peoples, and merchants obtain this pelts from the Indians after they have worn it for several months during the winter, which has the effect of shedding all the extra hard hair that otherwise might itch the skin of the person who wears it, and at the same time retain and concentrates the oil to maintain an insulation across the surface against water or any other liquid or substance that may stain or may get through. So it's very special type of pelts that again have these characteristics of concentrating lots of oil, maintaining it moist, and also maintaining the surface or keeping the surface flat and matted so that the hair is not coming out in great numbers and in abundant and great numbers. So here are some uses that you can give to this excellent type of pelt. One, which is hatting. Our hatters around the world prefer our pelts because, again, as I mentioned, they insulate water and they add elegance the material can be made into a type of felt that can add that look to our high corn hats as the one that you see here in the picture. And then the linings, that is the interior uh, 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 coverings of the coats also has that added warmth and insulating characteristic that prevents any perspiration or stains to get through the coats. And at the same time, the cuffs and the outside colors can also add a certain elegance to the coats and the attire that uses this beaver pelt. Robes and bed coverings for winter nights, a cold winter. It's excellent for any bedroom in any establishment. So for only 4.5 British sterling pounds, you can get as many as 10 pelts or a bundle of 10 pelts. And lastly, our product, we cannot go without showing you the best of France's wine. So back into the motherland in the gravel, rocky soil of the Haute Medoc region of Bordeaux, you have an excellent type of soil that produces vineyards and wine of a very unique flavor unattained in any other parts of the world. So the wine is very pure. It is very its flavor is very unique. It doesn't need any additive or ingredients to maintain or preserve over long voyages across the oceans. So it is the purest type of wine that you can consume. In fact, any Londoners and Englishmen prefer it over any Portuguese, either Madeira or port wines that they can easily get, and they're willing to pay exorbitant amount of money. But for only 15 British pounds sterling per cask of 31.5 gallons, you can get the best wine in the world. And with this, mon ami, I have finished the presentation. Just remember that we only accept bullion, that is hard currency in gold and silver. We accept French and Spanish coins, including the Royal Eights, which is very abundant everywhere. We are outside of the British system, which means that we don't accept bills of exchange, but we don't charge you taxes like the British. So please do business with us, and you won't regret it. Merci beaucoup. Bon voyage. Merci. So that is the presentation, or that's more or less what the presentation should be like. Um, the time frame was for me. I ask you to take at least 1 minute per slide to make it about 4 minutes total. I probably exceeded that time, but that's okay if you go over the limits. There's no problem. I used 8 slides, so my presentation was going to be a little longer than the 4 minutes that I ask you. So remember that my instructions are mostly a minimum. When you see a number of slides, a number of minutes, or time duration in the instructions, just remember that that's not written in stone as per the exact measure, but try that it's not less than that amount given. That's just a minimum. Okay, so you can go over, and that's fine if you go over, but make sure that it's not too long either. Okay, so that's what the presentation should be like. Make sure that you do a little bit of research. Like I had to do late minute research because I was looking at the properties of the soil under which the flax in the riverbanks of the Brittany province of France and grew the flax that with which they make the linen, just very, very popular and highly demanded. And so the properties of the environment affecting the material and how that created a certain sensation that people highly demanded and made the product so popular. And it's the same thing with the animal pelts that were worn by Indians and then wearing the furry part for several months, it just allowed the hair to shed away. And then once the Indians sold it to the white man or to the French, eh, all the process of taking off the unwanted hair was already done because the Indians have worn it for so long. So again, so those are details that that I learned as I was doing the presentation. I learned them and I tried to retain as much as possible so that I could tell you about it without having to necessarily memorize it. And so if you can do that, then that will work in your favor to learn about the product, because what I wanted you to do is to get a sense of what the people at that time thought about these things. What were the things that they wanted the most? What is it that they wanted to buy in a marketplace or from a merchant? What were the common people, the middle class or the upper classes, what kind of luxuries were they after? And why did they want those products? And so how this consumers culture that have developed during the colonial period could be explored through the research and learning of the role that these items play. So that's the main purpose of this assignment. So I hope that you have learned that you have learned enough about the mid 18th century trade and have an idea on how we have evolved in terms of the consumers' demand. Also learned something about the dynamics of the trade, including the payment that was done at the time, and all of these details that help you figure out and learn about the history of the colonial period prior to the Declaration of Independence, prior to the American Revolution, everything that came before. Okay, so anyways, thank you for your attention, and I'll see you next time. Okay, thank you.